I've known you a number of years.
Yes.
And I know that you do After Effects, you do editing, you do camera work. There is nothing that I don't think in post-production you don't do. But what is a post-production person? What is it that you actually do?
Well, I mean, a client comes to me and they want a video edited and they want some graphics and stuff. So if the footage has already been shot and they give it to me, then I will take that footage and I'll edit it and create the story the way they want. And if they want graphics, then I use, After Effects, which is a compositing program to create graphic intros, outros, lower thirds, all kinds of cool, fancy stuff to bring in. So to answer that question, post-production person, a person is the one that puts the puzzle pieces together to make the story, to make it come out.
You're the one that fixes it in post.
I fix it in post. Yeah, we don't like those words very much. In fact, we have a little. We got a sign over there in the edit bay that says "Fix it in pre-production." That's our little motto. But yeah, I do have a shirt that actually says "I fix it in post." I do own that shirt. It does exist.
Super. And you, like me, you're a slightly more younger-looking Gen Xer than I am. Mm-hmm. But as a Gen Xer, I feel like we've seen the biggest technological leaps in this industry.
Oh yeah.
What have you seen in your time as a post-production guy?
I've seen it all. When I first got in the industry, they were just getting away from film and going to, beta tapes, beta decks. And we actually had to edit 30-minute. We had 30-minute tapes in these big, these old Sony. I think in the 90s. I think they called the Sony 90s, and it was a 30-minute tape. So when we were out in the field, I was only a PA then, or camera assist, and so I basically was a tape runner. So we were doing an event, and these big cameras, and as soon as they ran out 30 minutes, we'd take the tape, put another one in, and we had to run that tape. We were runners running it to the edit suite where they would actually have to digitize it in real time. Now with that said, technology, those edit suites that we ran to were like avid media composers, and those machines back then were about $100,000 for that edit machine. And those machines were like, compared to what we have today, were tinker toys. Now, a kid can have a laptop, a little Sony A7 IV, and they've got their studio right there. They've got what would have been, if that system they have now could have gone back in time and used, it would have been worth $1 million back then easily. So they've got this $100,000 system that we had back in the 90s is now in a laptop right there. And it was a big system. It took up a whole room. We had the Avid Media Composer 1000 and it had the Unity, and it was a whole room, and the drives were like pizza boxes that only held maybe about 512 megabytes, or maybe a gigabyte if that. But as technology has changed a lot, anybody can make a movie now, with the stuff that's out there.
So with technology now allowing such accessibility to so many people,
right?
Do we have an entire landscape of talented people now or untalented people?
We got both. It's funny. There's an old saying. I love this saying. It's like a cameraman a professional photographer had dinner at this lady's house, and she says, "Oh my God, your pictures are amazing. You must have an incredible camera." And he says, "This dinner is wonderful. You must have an amazing oven." And that saying sticks. You can have the best technology in the world. You have the best cameras, the best lights, everything. You still need to know how to tell a story.
What's your process when somebody comes to you with a project that's really soup to nuts and they want you from start to finish?
Yes.
A movie director comes and they've got to get something out of their head into your hands, and you're 90% of the person really that makes it possible. How do you build that relationship?
Well, the first thing is the story. Everything starts with a story, as you know. You being a director, you have to have a story. If you don't have a story, you don't have anything. So you get the story first, and then you got to find out, how many scenes are in this story. How many different locations will be involved in this story. How many characters in this story, and then you have to figure all that out. I always tell people do a storyboard. If you're doing some kind of production or anything, always do a storyboard. A storyboard gives you a visual reference of what you're creating. After that, then you can talk to the client and say, okay, we're probably going to need about 2 cameras, and about 5 days of shooting and at 5 different locations. We're going to probably need a grip truck, a 3-ton grip truck with the equipment we need. We're going to need a gaffer, a lighter, gaffer, a grip, gaffer, key grip, and director AD, the whole works, the whole thing. We have to give that whole list to them. Now, the producer's responsible for coming up with the budget for those kind of things, and usually you have a line producer or coordinator that helps get that price structure. From my point of view, my job, like if I'm part of the post production, or if I'm part of that, is to basically give guidance, the best way to make that go smooth. Yeah.
So I know this about you, that many years ago you worked for the Mouse.
Yes,
Tell
I
us
did
about
work for
that.
the Mouse. Okay. Started as a tour guide in 1990 at MGM Studios. MGM Studios, yeah. I started as a tour guide at MGM Studios, which is now Hollywood Studios, and we had the backstage studio tour, which was awesome. I consider that the renaissance of the Mouse. It was just like, that was the best of times. Anyhow, sometimes you got the cross U, and cross U is basically they allowed you to work different positions at Disney, and I got to work as a PA on the Mickey Mouse Club. So I got to work on the Mickey Mouse Club a couple times as a PA, and then after that I made some good contacts, and then I started working for Disney's film and tape department. So I started cross-doing a lot from being a tour guide to the film and tape department, which is interesting because my managers weren't very happy because I was being requested a lot to go over and work on all these different commercials, with the film and tape department. But they let me go. They were cool. They let me go.
Yeah, I know. I've got living in Orlando, I've got some friends who have been lifelong in and out of Disney, and there seems to be this very tight alumni of Disney people that stay connected throughout their entire lives. Is that a network that you still tap into?
A little bit. I had a falling out a couple years back. I was in a business and with some partners and stuff like that. And anyway, when I left, I had to do a non-compete, and I kind of lost my Disney client from there. So I kind of decided to go. But then what was funny, like the whole thing was like that happened, and then all of a sudden we had the big financial crisis, the real estate crisis of 2007, 2008. And so a lot of work just went gone, history. So I fanned out. I went basically national outside the state of Florida, and I started finding a lot of clients outside of Florida. So I've been working with these clients, forever outside the state of Florida, so I kind of lost my Disney ties. I am slowly trying to go back into the Disney area again. I mean, I love to work at Disney, and there's a lot of good people there that I'd love to work with. So I am reaching out to talk to them to see if they would love to, to work with us.
Yeah, I follow your social media, and you're traveling a lot.
Yes.
And you post some very interesting videos. And,
That's right.
What kind of work are you doing?
I have one main client, Campus Tours. They're awesome. They're absolutely amazing. They do college videos, and we basically will go to the colleges and we interview people, and we create little vignette stories about the college and all the different types of programs they offer. And we shoot B-roll of the college, and we shoot. We interview instructors, alumni, students, everybody, and then we create these videos for them, so people can actually go to the tour and get a really good inside look at the college or institution. Yeah.
Again, I know this about you personally because I've known you for a long time. You're a Star Wars.
Love Star Wars.
You're a Star Wars guy,
yeah,
and so
Star Wars.
First question.
Yeah.
There's 100 films. Which is your favorite?
Oh, New Hope, number 4, episode 4, New Hope.
Is there kind of a sadness about that because all the films came after that?
I was 11 years old. That's what got me into loving photography and shooting and special effects and stuff. It was I was 11 years old, and my dad took my brothers and I to see it. I didn't really want to see it. I was kind of excited, but I wasn't really excited. But after you watch it, it was amazing. It was a life changer for me.
It changed everything.
Everything. Everything changed. Yeah, Lucas and I have a story that goes with that too, because like a couple years ago I was in San Francisco on a job, and a friend of mine works in Industrial Light and Magic, and he actually took me to Skywalker Ranch. Nice. And I got to go to Skywalker Ranch, and I don't get nervous. I pretty much keep my cool under all circumstances, no matter what. And I tell you, we walked into the house, and then there were all the original models. There was stuff from Indiana Jones in there in the glass case. And I was shaking. I was literally shaking. I thought George Lucas was going to walk around the corner or something. And I was like, then I really would have just fallen on my knees and all hail George Lucas. And we had dinner there. We got to see the private library. Anyway, I guess the thing is, Star Wars was awesome. And the special effects, because that was the beginning of Industrial Light and Magic. They started there. And the stuff they created, they were doing the multi-composites, and they were using blue screen technology, and they were bringing things to life,
So every time you went to see a new release, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, Phantom Menace, you went in saying, this time, and then you come out saying,
Well, Empire Strikes Back was still pretty darn awesome.
It's my favorite.
Yeah, Empire Strikes Back was fantastic. I think just as good as New Hope. Return of the Jedi storyline was great. I wasn't a big fan of the Ewoks. I didn't like the costumes.
Yeah,
of the Ewoks
as soon as, I was 15 years old, I
Yeah.
think, when that came out, 14, 15 years old, and
Yeah.
as soon as I saw those Ewoks, I said, you sold your soul to the toy company.
Well, you have to give George Lucas credit. I mean, he is a genius. I mean, he went to Kenner, because when he sold it to 20th Century Fox, he said, I'll take the rights to, the toys.
Yeah, just leave me with these little toys.
And they're like, yeah. And, I know that guy kicking a button for it. I mean, he's probably still kicking. The guy who didn't take that, probably still kick himself to this day. But Lucas was a genius. I mean, and then, that, and then he created, Skywalker Sound, and he is basically he started everything. If you think about it.
Well, I saw when I watched the documentary about how they made it, and they went around making sound effects and how they made the phaser fire. They were hitting high tension cables, actually on telegraph lines. They were hitting them, and that must be the kind of thing that's really interesting to you.
Oh, absolutely, and like the sound of the Millennium Falcon when it's flying through space is a large drainage tube that's just being dragged on the ground, and they got a microphone, that creates that sound. Oh yeah, that was like that. See, that to me, that's the heart of production in movies is the people that go out and create those sounds, and that was practical. Like you said, the guy with the high tension wire, he's making the laser fire with a high tension wire that he's doing, and the lightsabers were basically a subwoofer feedback, type to make those sounds. But that's all practical. That means these guys were sitting in there trying to do all this cool stuff, and nowadays, there's all these electronic things they plug in and it makes it for you. Not quite the same as far as I'm concerned. I still like the way they used to do it back in the day.
They're standing on today we're standing on the shoulders of giants.
Yeah.
If they didn't do that, we wouldn't be able to do this. But I know that I know that you're very accomplished as an After Effects person. Mm-hmm. I've seen your work.
Right.
And I didn't even know. I've known you a long time. I didn't know you were a tour guide. It's incredible. I did not know that.
That was great. That was awesome.
What did you go to school for?
I didn't go to school for this.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, it pisses off a lot of kids that go to school. They hate it when they hear that. They're like, you didn't go to school for this? No, I learned in the field. I spent a lot of I love the story of Michael Jordan. He's like one of probably the best basketball players of all time. And there was an interview with him where they said, he would still practice after a game, and he would just shoot until he got it perfect. And that's kind of like what I did. I would learn from these camera guys, and then sometimes they would let me use a camera package, and I would go out and shoot. I would learn everything I could about it. You mentioned After Effects. That was actually an editor I ran into while I was doing the Disney Christmas Parade back in 1998. And he showed me After Effects. And I thought, this is cool. Look at that multi-compositing and animation, stuff like that. So I started learning After Effects, which now I love After Effects. Is like, it's like, and if you're gonna learn any kind of cool program, learn After Effects. It allows you to do so much. But I guess my point is that I just learned on the run, man. I did have some schooling in commercial art, and I also have a background in mechanical engineering. But photography, After Effects, that's the bomb for me.
Well, you actually got me started on Photoshop.
Yeah, I am.
And I'm a talentless amateur in Photoshop now. I can do enough in Photoshop to show somebody else on how to do it properly, but I just I've wanted desperately to spend some time learning After Effects, but I've never made enough time to get past the first. I don't know the interface. I just can't get past it because I've never spent. At least I'd have to do hours. So that to hear that you've done it yourself and taught yourself has actually inspired me to go and dust off the.
I still have the books if you want them.
I think it's all online. YouTube's your friend now.
Well, yeah, YouTube is great. YouTube. I mean, what I would suggest, anybody wants to learn After Effects now, you have. I only had books. I didn't have YouTube. I didn't have templates that were pre-built. I only had books. I had to read the books and create the different programs and different media. But what I would highly recommend is download a template. There's plenty of sites we can download After Effects template that has this really cool open, and then dissect it, tear it apart piece by piece, replace it with your own type of personality, your own type of stuff. You'll find that you'll learn After Effects pretty darn fast when you do it that way.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I might do that. I know where I can download some templates.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm going to do.
Just take a template and then say, how does this work? Turn on certain things, turn them on and off. And
how does this
once you
turn?
do-
Deep, Mark.
You can do that too. You can always call me, I'll answer questions.
I'm going to start talking to you about this facility in a minute.
Okay.
That you've put a lot of effort into building and launching, but
Yeah.
let's keep talking about your post-production and production work.
Sure.
If your email pings or your phone goes or you get a text and a new job comes in, give me an idea of the job that makes you say yes, and the job that makes you say no.
Let's see. I get a friend that calls. Hey, I got a friend that's getting married and needs a wedding photographer. That's a definite.
Yeah. Okay.
No. If you're somebody new just starting, okay, do a couple weddings. It's good practice. It really is. It's really, you're dealing with people. You're dealing with, bridezillas. You're dealing with mother-in-laws and stuff like that. It actually helps prepare you for real production, to be honest with you. And it's decent money. Just don't put it on your resume, That's my suggestion there. But wedding photographers, they make great money and they do some amazing work. So I'm not it's just not for me, not my thing. The one that makes me say yes is like my partner in crime here at Iron Pixel Studios, Jeremiah Bombeck. Movies, and when I worked on movies with you, we did a couple films, and I love films. Film is like theater. You go in and you got like a month of just shooting. A month of just getting in there and making, bringing it to life. And you're shooting scene by scene. And as you do those scenes, you have to figure out how is this scene going to connect to this scene to this. And I get very excited about that because that's a challenge. It's like, wow, you really got to think about that. And you got to make sure that what you're doing is going to connect well from piece to piece. But you have to make sure that the location is ready to go. You got to make sure the actors are ready to go. You got to make sure your equipment's all set to go. Movies are a big challenge, but extremely exciting at the same time.
And it's wonderful for me personally to see a group of disparate people come together, and the first few days of getting to know each other, and by the end, you're almost like Navy SEALs.
Yeah.
You're so in sync with each other. You're finishing each other's sentences.
Yeah,
you weeded out the thing, and you're playing to your strengths. And then just when you feel so bonded to all those people, you all go home.
You all go home and you're done.
Yeah.
You're all done. But you'll see people in other productions later on. I remember there's the AC from when we did Waves of Grace, back in the day. And his name is Chris. I think it was Chris. And we would do this thing like when I was a DIT on that one, which is digital image technician. My job was to manage the cards, make sure everything got onto the system. And got
Very important job.
Very important job. Because you think about it, your entire production, $100,000, $1 million, all comes down to this little tiny little card about this big. They pull off the camera. Or nowadays, cards like this that come off the camera. But we did this thing where, like, when I would show up, we had this ritual. He'd present the card, he would bow, I would bow, he'd present the card to me, and I would say thank you, and I'd walk away, and I would, get it ingested, check the media, make sure cameras, everything were good, and that was fun. That was way fun. I love that one.
It's a dear memory for me, and I can't wait until we do it again.
Yeah,
we got plans. We got plans.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'd like to talk about this place.
Sure.
This wonderful studio that we're in. This is the second podcast that we've produced now, and I wanted to get you from behind the camera, the man behind the curtain, in front of the curtain, and so to talk about this. And I know there's more to this place. So, why did you do it, and what is it that you're doing?
Oh, all right. Well, why I did it? Well, I'm getting older now. I'm in my late 50s, and 57 now, man, 57, and. Reality, I do a lot of reality shows. I work for Discovery Channel and History Channel and A&E, and I do a lot, and they're long days. You're talking 12 hours, running and gunning with a camera. And it's, even though I can still keep up with the young kids, sorry guys, but I can still keep up with you guys, it takes its toll. And so I thought, I can only do this for another, 10 years max, running gun with the camera. So what I want to do was open a studio. I've done a couple of productions where we've done puppet series, and they've been very successful. And I had to rent out sound stages. We've even rented out hotel suites, or our convention space, and they're pretty expensive. And I was thinking, I could do this. I could do, a space like this, maybe manage a space. So I started tinkering around, getting some ideas, and started looking at places. And it was very difficult to find a place that met the parameters that I needed for a production. So anyway, this place that we're in right now, Iron Pixel Studios, it fit the parameters. It has offices off to both sides, and it's got the large center soundstage right down the middle that's shared between both spaces. Now the podcast studio was actually Jeremiah's brainchild. I just wanted to do a soundstage and edit suite. My intentions were soundstage pre-ready to go for people to come in for their productions, affordable, because if a big production comes in, they're probably going to go to Universal Studios, Chapman Leonard, or Adrenaline, and then those are exceptional spaces. They're amazing, but they're huge. They're really big. They're designed for the real big guys. Here, I'm kind of in the middle of the road to kids just starting, their productions and stuff like that. They come in here and they use this facility, and it's a nice one. We made it really good, and it's affordable. Now you can have a real soundstage. It's been pre-lit and a green screen. It's a cyclorama. It's pre-lit, ready to go. You flick a switch, you got your green screen ready to go. All you got to do is put your key lights up, subject, teleprompter, whatever it is you're doing. You're ready to go. You're all set.
So what kind of, we know obviously what kind of things happen in this studio. It's a podcasting studio. Yes. In your soundstage, what, for the greater Orlando area or anybody that's watching this, who's going to pick up a phone or send you an email and say, what are they doing? What kind of productions?
Oh, like what kind of productions are we doing in here?
What's it available to do?
Oh, it's available to do almost anything. I mean, within a certain size, of course. We can't do like a big giant car commercial. We can fit a car in here, but car commercial requires the big drape light over top, and you need a lot of space for those. We could do maybe a photo shoot, but we can't do a full-fledged commercial. But we can do like commercials, where it's like if you want to build a living room set, kitchen set, news set, we can do those. Yeah, no problem at all. If it's one person on camera, piece of cake. We've got, like I said, green background. We've got the white background. We've got all kinds of backdrops they can flip into and do whatever they like. We've got a grid, that's designed for the DP and the gappers, and they can hang whatever they want off there, light-wise. We've got our pre-lit stuff that they're welcome to use, but if they want to go in, a step further, they can do that.
I also saw a presentation desk for like broadcasts and stuff like
that.
I thought
the
Weather Channel or something.
The guys at MTI, Market Traders Institute up the road, I used to do some work for them, and great bunch of folks. And they had this news desk they weren't using anymore, so they let us have it. And now it's in our studio, so we have a news desk, and we have a photograph of Orlando that I shot a couple years back, and we blew it up to a 10 by 12, so it's a backdrop, and now you've got this nice image of Orlando behind the desk, if you like. And we also have different backdrops if they want something different, but it just looks really cool. It's a nice setup. It's really cool.
And I figured when I was in there last time, possibly even people that want to do training videos and not just adverts, but this corporate stuff. And, But there's even I think it's big enough to do a little bit of drama stuff if people want to hire it to.
Yeah, it could be used. We have we could do some drama stuff. We had one gentleman, his name's Casey. He's a stop motion animation fellow, really very talented. He's thinking about renting us for a few months to do some stop motion animation films.
Jason and the Argonauts.
Exactly. Yeah, that's our premiere kids. I remember that was great. I love those. Those shows were awesome. Look at them now, oh my! But back then as a kid, it was awesome.
The second that I saw Charles H. Near in the credits, I went, Excellent.
Good times, man. Well, that's what he's doing. He's got great characters. I mean, we're talking Tim Burton level stuff that he's creating, and he wants to do a little show. So he's got some possible funding, and so he wants to use our soundstage for a very long period of time because stop motion animation is a very, very long, laborious, tedious process. That's like you move the character just a little bit. Step away, take a picture, move it again, take a picture, and so it's it takes a day just to do maybe about 2 seconds or 5 seconds of movement. So we're talking to him about renting space for long term. Now, if that happens, we won't be able to rent to anybody else because it's going to be a whole stop motion animation studio in there. So we'll probably work with some of our local soundstage guys and send work to them, to bypass it out. So there's a
but we can still podcast, right?
Podcast's fine. Yeah, podcast we're going no problem at all. Yeah.
So listen, question.
Yeah.
You're gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I want to know about your worst ever cock up in post production.
My worst ever what?
Cock up, mess up. Sometime when you've done something, you said, "Oh my God, I can't show the client this."
Well, I mean, I've never really messed up. I mean, I had an issue. I've had two where the drives failed.
Oh.
So it was a big project. It was actually for a very large client, and I must have got a bad batch of drives from G-Raid, and so the main drive failed. And so, but the good news is I had a backup. And so then I went to the backup drive, and that failed.
Oh.
And I lost a good chunk of all the project. So
They couldn't recover it?
No, couldn't been recovered. It was a complete fail of the drive. The drives just died. But I did have some of the original media from the original cards off the cameras. I was able to piece it back together, and then I actually gave the client a free reshoot. So I went back up to Pennsylvania, and then spent 4 days reshooting a lot of the material for them to make it, good. Yeah.
Okay, and as a DP, when you're out there and you're shooting stuff,
Right.
I've been there as a director, and when people don't know the camera's still on, have you got anything juicy for us?
Let's see. Trying to think. There was one. There was a president of this company, and we actually left the camera running. And after he was done his whole piece, he did go off on like talking about he was saying we care about our clients, blah blah blah. And after he was done, he was like, I don't give a F about these people. I just want their pay. I want their money. I want them to buy this thing. Blah 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 blah. So we did have something like that once. Yeah.
Did you show him?
No. No. But we did have another one once. We had somebody that we were supposed to interview, and they just went off on a tangent, a complete political tangent, about who's the I forgot his name, the real big investor guy on Wall Street. Everybody talks about
Warren Buffett.
Warren Buffett. And she went off on Warren Buffett, and now he needs to be shot and all this stuff. And we're like, holy shit, where's this going? Because all we asked about was like, how do you like going to school here? And the next thing you know, Warren Buffett, blah, 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 blah. And it was like, it went on, and we tried to stop her a couple of times, and she said, let me finish, please.
Oh, my goodness.
And we're like, okay, we actually had to get the client to have her stop. And anyway, that lady got fired eventually from that. But
come get your client.
I still have that clip somewhere. I kept the client wanted us to delete it, but we kept it because it was actually pretty funny.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So you've had this place open 2 months, 3 months?
This has been we basically started about March 2023, okay. And it's taken us about 4 or 5 months to get all the construction done of this place. So there's a lot. I mean, there was a lot to do here because we had to soundproof the building, because we're in a warehouse area, so we had to do a lot of soundproofing. We had to build a cyclorama. We had to get a lot of the equipment. We had to get the podcast studio all decorated and looking nice. So it's been a couple months, but we're up and we're running now. We're good to go.
Excellent. What does the next 6 months look like for you guys?
Next 6 months is marketing. We want to get people. We want to get out there. We want to let people know that we're here. We are here. We are in Orlando, and we provide an excellent product. We have what it takes. We actually just had some rentals already, and we've gotten great feedback from people. We had one come in. And the poor kid, he rented our space, and but then when the client got here, the client went this, and this. And a regular soundstage, it's just a space. You show up, and it's your job to make it work, not ours. Our job is to give you what you need, make sure the tools that you need are here. That's as far as we're supposed to go. This poor kid, the client went this, and this, all these different things. I mean, they needed a teleprompter, and I guess the client never told the DP they needed a teleprompter. So we had one. So like, you know what? All right, we'll help you out. We'll put it out there, and they needed this. We went a little out of our way to make it work. And the kid's ecstatic. The client was happy with everything. Ecstatic, That's what we're about. We're not going to leave you hanging. We're not going to too bad. That's not our style. Our style is to help.
Yeah, I've known you 15 years, and I think you're one of the top 3 most professional people I've ever met.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you.
I can, I'll give a big plug for Iron Pixel Studios. We're not even going to go into the rest of it, but he's the man.
Appreciate it.
So I just want to thank you for this today. It's been really enlightening.
Mm-hmm, sure.
I've known you for 15 years and did not know that you were pointing people around with 2 Disney.
Yeah, man.
Get on.
Pick out the trash. I still pick up trash. I walk down the street, I see trash, I still pick it up. I'm like, damn, Disney got it right in my system. I got to pick up the trash. But yeah, it was awesome.
Well, I wish you every success, and I'm really looking forward to watching this place grow. Thanks for
you, man.
coming in today.
Appreciate it. Thank you.